Here's our burn down chart. It's a little bit wonky, and that is because we basically had a major pivot in the middle of our sprint, which I will go over when we on one of the other slides. So first, just giving a quick update on the traffic to the websites. So BCMI, pretty average compared to this sprint to last sprint. Notice though there's a lot of people visiting both the legislation page and the authorization info page on BCMI, which is good because we've got some tickets this coming sprint to update the links in those pages. That's good. Epic, a little bit less traffic than usual. And there's a new project in there that was getting quite a bit of attention called the Delta Port expansion. So I think that one just went, they just got their initial project description approved. So that was pretty popular. LNG, a little bit less traffic than usual as well. And notice that there was 16% of the visits were directed from a government website, like one of the internal government public-facing government websites, and then there was 2% coming from actually coming from the coastalgaslink.com website. So somewhere in coastalgaslink.com is linking to our LNG site. I spent forever trying to find it, and I could not find the link, but some users are getting directed there from that site. And then NRCED, a little bit more traffic than usual, and I have a feeling it maybe is because of us searching stuff on there. AJAX was a popular search term, as well as the Wildfire Act, specifically for administrative penalties and orders.
Last one is because that last one is because me and Lawrence over at Wildfire Services were working on those.
Oh yeah, it's funny. I feel like I can tell what everybody's doing in the sites. So our Sprint 8 goal was to release BCMI and the NRPTI connection to production. It has been put on pause due to the election that was called last Monday. So that is why we had a massive pivot in the middle of our sprint. So because it's a public-facing site, because of the election, we're not actually allowed to update any public-facing sites except for fixing spelling errors and updates to incorrect data or incorrect functionality. So we put that on hold. What we did is basically continue the rest of the sprint, working out some of the bugs and some of kind of ironing out some of our workflows for BCMI, which was good because it's really nice to be able to have a little bit of flexibility on that and make sure everything is 100% now before we release. So yeah, that's why our burn down chart looked so kind of crazy. So for the demo, I'm gonna do an example of basically the full workflows of profiling a mine in BCMI. So this was going to be the piece of work that like Amy, you, and Nicole, and myself, and Lisa at EMPR, what we were going to do during our phase 2 of our release. I'm going to do sort of a quick demo on just how that would work and show you guys that it is working now. We just can't release it yet. Okay. Excuse me. So I'm going to go into our NRPTI test site here and pretend I'm working on publishing a new mine, or not a, yeah, I'm publishing a new mine that, or I'm publishing a mine that existed on the previous, like on the current version of BCMI. So this is the current version of BCMI. The one I'm going to do is Wolverine. So right here, Wolverine mine. So one of the big pieces that we were going to do is we're rebuilding the EAO collections. So the collections coming from Epic. So I'm just going to do a quick overview of how that would have been done. So in here, I'm going to look up Wolverine. We have updated all the mine names in core. So now instead of Wolverine mine, it's called Wolverine coal mine. And we updated these names based on whatever was in the latest permit document. So the names all look a little bit sort of cleaner now. So the workflow would basically be going into the mine, just ensuring that all this data coming from core is in here, and making sure, doing a quick check and a validation, making sure it's the right permit number, number of tailing storage facilities is correct. If any of this needs to be changed, we'd go back to core and that's where we'd update it. And then down here, this is all stuff that we're pulling over from the old BCMI site, or sorry, the current BCMI site. So this summary and this description here is what's in here. So just do a quick check of that. I'd go to the mine records, verify the data, see there's 223 records coming over. And there's 123 collections coming over. So because I know I have to rebuild the mine collections, what I would do here is, rebuild the EAO collections, is I think the quickest way to do this would basically go into here. I'm going to filter any agency that's EAO, and it's going to be showing on the authorization tab. If I go down here, you can see that all these collections, except for this bottom one here, these collections have 0 records. So these ones are not going to show up on our front end, whereas this one will show up on the front end, and this one I did yesterday. Let's say I'm like, okay, you know, I'm looking at the current version of BCMI, and I know that there is an environmental assessment certificate, and this is the collection that I want to rebuild. So there's the certificate document, the Schedule A and Schedule B. So to do that, I would go into here, and this is the environmental certificate collection. I would edit it. I think they're coming in right now as permits, but it should be certificate, so I can change that. And then I need to add the records to this collection for EAO. I'm going to go add existing records. It'll take me back to the record page for this mine. And then the easiest way to do this is to filter based on the source system. So I'm going to filter based on EPIC. And since I know I'm looking for the certificate documents, I'm also going to filter on the activity. So I'm going to only see the EAO certificate documents that we're pulling from EPIC. So I go down here, and there's quite a few because we're actually pulling over more certificate documents now because we're using it based on the tags in EPIC. But I basically go down here and I'd look and say, okay, well, this is the certificate document right here. Here's the Schedule A. Here's the Schedule B. And then I could, if I wanted to, say I wanted to add this table of commitments, the Schedule B document, or this information bulletin, or the summary assessment report. I could add those if I wanted, but I'm just trying to mimic what's happening in the current BCMI. So I'd select those 3, add records to collection. You can see the 3 of them are in here now. Go update. It's gonna bring up this pop-up now saying confirm publication. This will publish the current collection and 3 records. Do you want to proceed? Yes. Okay, so you can see that the collection's created and these documents are in there. We've added this link symbol here. So since this isn't an actual, it's not a document saved in NRPTI, it's actually linking to an EPIC page. That's why this link is showing up here. So just a quick indicator to the user of what it is. And then if I need to publish this mine for this to be visible. So I'm gonna go back to the mine details. I'm gonna publish. You can see that's now published. And then if I go to our version of BCMI, list, here's a Wolverine coal mine. When I click on this, you can see that the description and the summary have come across. All the information from core is coming across now. Go to the authorization tab, and you'll see that here's the collection I just added, this environmental assessment certificate one with the 3 documents. And you can reorder these in NRPTI, so I probably maybe would have put the certificate at the top. So this is now present in the public side. So that would have been the process we would have gone under before we had released everything to production, is rebuilding these EPIC collections. But one other quick thing I wanted to show here is that we're now correctly pulling over all of the collections and records and publishing them. So you can see here at the Environmental Management Act, there's these 2 collections coming here from, these are coming from the old BCMI currently. And then these ones are all coming from core. So you can see there's quite a few. And then on the compliance oversight tab, these ones are coming over from the old BCMI as well. So these are all the inspections that were uploaded to BCMI in the past. And then other documents, these are all the reports that were updated to BCMI in the past. So they're all showing up in here as well.
It's really slick.
Yeah, so I think it's nice to see it kind of working from start to finish, and we can easily, like, to create the collection was actually pretty simple. Like all the EPIC documents I would have wanted to add are just stored within that mine. So instead of going and finding each document on my computer or each document in Epic, they're all just showing up right in the administrative interface, which is nice.
So much easier than what I was dealing with before.
Awesome, that's good. The other thing in here, I think I've showed you guys how to create collections before, but if there was a new thing we needed to add in here, you could create a new collection. Let's see. Just gonna create the collection. Let's make it an annual report, NPR. I'm gonna add a new record. So this would be for moving forward. I think we're still doing a lot of the reports and inspections manually because that data is not quite ready to be pulled in automatically. So this is how we would go about doing that if you had to add something new. Just going to quickly add a test document. Save. You'll see that it's saved. I just did that directly in the collection page. I click save. It's going to give me that publication notice again. And there we go. One thing now too is that the collection is the act of publishing. So anytime you're going to add a record to a collection, that's going to publish it, and that's only going to publish it on published mines. If the mine is not published, then the collections won't be published. Which makes sense. So as soon as you publish that mine, any collections that have a record in there will show up on BCMI. So you can see this one will now have been added to, I think it should be this tab actually. Let's see. Yeah, there it is right there. So there's the new collection I added. Any questions on that piece? There's one other quick thing I was going to demonstrate, which I think I showed last sprint review, but we've got some formatting working for the pop-up. So how I envision this working maybe in the future is, say you added a new mine, like I just added Wolverine, is I'd go to this in NRPTI, I'd go to the communications tab here, and I want to advertise that we added a new mine to this site. So this is the old pop-up that I had here. But in here I can say, Wolverine coal mine has been added. You can add a message in here, and this can be formatted. So say I want that to be bold, and I want this to be, I don't know, I want it to be really big. And then I want to link this to something. I'm going to go link. I'm just going to put in google.com right now. There. And actually for that, let's just see. I wanted to open it in a new window. So if I save, and then I can start this date. So I'm going to start it, say it started yesterday, and it's going to go to tomorrow. Save this pop-up, and now whenever I go here, hold on a second. Oh, it's going to say new mine, Wolverine coal mine. You can format this so it looks a little bit nicer. If I click here, it's going to take me to that external link. So yeah, I think that's kind of how I envisioned this pop-up could be used, or even now because we're doing updates to the site, whenever we're able to move to prod, we can say some big kind of public announcement within this pop-up. But again, that's up to the administrator and EMPR, however they want to use that. So. And then in here, we're just going to go cancel pop-up, and that won't show up anymore. Any questions on that?
Just a comment. I love the pop-up, and I also love the notion of just redirecting people to Google to find new information. I think you're onto something there. Make our lives a lot easier.
Yeah,
so brilliant.
Yeah. And again, that is going to be, we have it built, like the admin side built on NERC and LNG. We just need to hook it up to their front ends. Again, this is something we will not be able to do until after the election period's over. But but it is here and available.
Is there any chance at all that we can just try to make the argument that the old BCMI site is, you know, just one collective typo now that there's a more correct version of it somewhere? That we're just changing typos?
Yeah, I mean, we probably could maybe do that. Yeah.
That was the best approach ever, Kyle. I credit you for creativity.
Just one giant typo. Yeah, I wish that we could have done that. So our success criteria here, like I said, we're on pause. So this hasn't changed because this next sprint we were really focused on basically getting all these mines on there and having the up-to-date information. So this is pause for right now. Next, so upcoming. So because we have pushed off the move to production, we're going to hope to do that whenever the election period ends. So probably end of October, November timeframe. So we are focusing on, there's a couple of things for BCMI that we were going to do after moving to production. We're just going to do them now and kind of wrap them up during this next sprint. We're also going to be preparing to move EPIC to OpenShift 4. So we're part of the early adopters for, I don't know what you call it, early adopters for that initiative. So I think I want to say there was about like 14 other project areas that are doing that as well. So we're going to join in and see if we can do that. I think we can start that on October 14th. So we just have a couple of things that we need to do to EPIC to prepare for that and a couple of spikes, which will be this piece here. And finally, probably one of the major things we're doing is we are going to shift to focusing on working on NRCED again. So over this next sprint, as we're working on tickets for these first two items, we're also going to be doing a lot of discovery and refinement on NRCED. And particularly focused on creating new connections, so new imports, new data in NRPTI to surface on NRCED. So we're doing a lot of work on that. Yeah, any questions?
Just another comment. I think it's just incredible what the team has been able to do in such a short period of time. You know, it's just this election that's really prevented launching. But I mean, if that launch were to have happened, like the sheer amount of value that you're creating, and you know, and I'm sure Amy is just heartbroken that you know, that it has to be postponed because it's got so much utility for EMPR to, you know, to get things published. It's fantastic. I'm so impressed.
Thank you, Kat.
Yeah, Jessica, yeah. I completely agree. I think it's freaking awesome what you guys are able to get done. I love the way that we're working together as a team and as a group. And I don't know if, did you provide an update about the ADM C&E meeting that happened last week? I'm not sure if it's helpful for this table, but I'm happy to do that.
Sure, yeah, that might be good.
Yeah, so ADM C&E, so ADMs of compliance enforcement across the natural resource sector meet, and at their meeting, Kyle and his boss Gwenda prepared a presentation, which was looking at the future focus of NRCED and talking about all the cool things we've done, but primarily asking for some additional funding. So we had a really rich and positive, I would say, conversation where people are impressed by what has been done, and Kyle and Gwenda did a great job of framing that up. Mm-hmm. But they were also very supportive, and seems as though they may reach into their pockets a little bit to support some future development. So not that that means anything specific for you guys, just that it's a credit to the work that's been done. But it's also a little bit of a light at the tunnel in terms of how we're going to continue to achieve value and add some more of these data connections and kind of go forward. And so it's just it's basically a giant tap on the back that in the fiscally constrained times that we are currently in, that we were able to go to ADMs, ask for money, and not get the door slammed in our face or the computer slammed on the virtual meeting. So congratulations, that means a lot, and it's all based on the work that you guys have done.
Yeah, and the other cool thing I think is that we are able to pivot so quickly. Like this threw everybody for a loop, this election stuff, and I think it's really cool that it was like, okay, everybody was working super hard and getting it in there, and then I think it must be last Tuesday or Wednesday afternoon, a meeting being like, okay, everybody stop. We don't need to do this anymore, but it was a really quick pivot, and I think we addressed like how we were going to move forward really quickly, which is cool. Yeah. Yeah, so I think that it wraps up our sprint review for today.
Thanks, Jess. I'm going to actually stop recording at this point.